Okay, after most of a winter of paddling, when you get out of the water when it's 40 degrees or less out and you drop your gear, you don't give it a lot of thought as to where things end up. So right now, the van is a mess, my gear is a mess, I've got some broken gear I need to deal with. So I'm gonna put my life back in order, and at the same time, let's talk about 5 kayaking accessories that are game changers, that are not like bilge pumps and paddle floats and stuff like that. Little things that will make your life better, easier, better. Let's go. Okay, number 1 on the list is not a bilge pump or a paddle float, which I'm not going to keep in the bucket right now, nor is it a leash or that. It is this. It is a short tow that I made that still needs to have heat shrink done on the edges. It is 2 marine design carabiners with a very strong piece, a very thick piece of climbing cord. That'll probably pull the van. That's how strong it is. And it lives in front of the cockpit of my boat so that it can be opened in either direction. So it's through and then folded over, so you can pull out one side or the other. This has 8 million uses. You can use it as a stirrup to get into the boat. I can use it to hold someone's boat next to mine if we're having snacks, or if I'm doing an assessment of that person medically. Or I can use it in rough water if we're looking at a chart. Or I can use it as a short tow, which is what we call it, a short tow. Like I want to pull someone, or I have to pull someone, but I need to keep their boat close to my boat. I also carry, when I'm working with students, as a full-blown tow rope, but this is a short tow. And I absolutely love this thing. It was surprisingly expensive to make. These were, I want to say these were about 20 bucks a piece. And then the cord was pretty cheap, but that's a fair amount for 2 waterproof carabiners, or not waterproof, but designed to get wet carabiners. But this is item 1. Okay, this next item is going to seem bizarre. It is not my dry suit, which is right here. It is what my dry suit is on, which is the NRS Quick Change Duffel. And honestly, I just bought the pad from the Quick Change duffel, like a replacement pad. I don't think you can do that anymore, but you can still buy the NRS Quick Change Duffel. And here is what it is. So, over the years, even since I got the van, but less since I got the van, I have changed clothes in parking lots, on beaches, in gravel, in rocks, in places where there's broken glass, whatever. Standing at the back of the van, standing at the back of my car before I had a van. And it sucks because you're standing in gravel or dirt or whatever. The Quick Change Duffel is a piece of nylon with a draw cord around it, and it's designed so that you stand on it when you change your clothes. You dump your wet stuff in there, you put on your shoes, you can then walk off of it. And this thing, then you can close up and it encapsulates all your stuff because it's got this draw cord. So if I pull this draw cord, the ends are going to come in and just encapsulate whatever I've got. Let's see how that works. Now I can pick up my wet dry suit and take it someplace to get it dry without bringing in all the dirt and stuff like that. I absolutely love this thing, and I don't just use it at the van. I bring it when I'm doing a multi-day trip, because then when I get to the beach or when I'm standing at, the shoreline or whatever, I can take off my dry suit or whatever I'm wearing that's wet and drop it in there, and then walk back to camp, and I know where all my paddle stuff is. So my dry suit will end up in there, my paddling shoes will end up in there, whatever I've got that's wet ends up in there. Life is way, way better.
Okay, so I'm just gonna add one thing in here while I'm editing, which is, suppose you don't wanna buy the whole Quick Change Duffel and they don't sell just the replacement pad. I've got another option for you, which is, I think you might have seen the shot of my friend Johnny, who keeps like a furniture blanket in the back of his truck so that when he changes, he can stand on that furniture blanket. And actually, if you've got a truck with a lift gate, it'll actually even give you some protection from rain and stuff like that. There's an even simpler way, which is a borrowed hotel bath mat. Works really well. I'll keep that in the van just in case I need to change out footwear real quick and don't want to grab the base to the quick change duffel. So it doesn't have to be the quick change duffel, which is a great duffel bag, I am sure, but really all I'm using is that base with the draw cord. So this, you lose the draw cord option. I tend to think of that, I jokingly refer to that as a dumpling. It becomes a dry suit dumpling. So you lose that ability, but it's a very quick, very easy, very inexpensive way to just have something to stand on. So the answer is have something to stand on. Doesn't have to be the quick change duffel. I really like that draw cord feature. But yeah, so there you go. Okay, back to me. Okay, the next thing on the list is gonna seem insane, but it's super important. It's a self-care thing, and it's essentially take care of your skin. So lip balm or sunscreen lip balm, sunscreen for your face, Gold Bond medicated powder. Okay, lip balm. I'm a big fan of Carmex, and I've got a ton of them. Honestly, when I sold the last van, I just collected. I had to empty the van out, and I collected everything. And I ended up with I found 6 Carmex tubs and just put them all in the front of the new van. And so I've got Carmex wherever I go now. I use a specific face sunscreen. This is Badger, right? Yeah, Badger, and I only use mineral-based sunscreens because A, they work better, B, they're better for you, B, C, they're better for the environment. And then I've got, I think I've got Sunbum in here as well. Yeah, so Sunbum sunscreen that I'm super happy with. But it doesn't matter what I use. You need to find stuff that works well for you. Gold Bond is amazing for you've been paddling for 5 days and could really use a shower. Put that in stinky bits and they will be less stinky. Works really well. It's also really good at getting sand off of your feet. So if your feet, you're camping on the beach, sand gets everywhere, but you don't want it, you want to minimize it in your tent. So what you do is, as you sit down in your tent, you leave your feet outside, Gold Bond them, and that the sand will just brush off because it just gets rid of moisture super quick. So sunscreen, lip stuff, and then Gold Bond, I think, take really good care of your skin. I also do lots of UPF clothing and stuff like that works really well. So yeah, those are things that you can do to protect your skin. I was going to say you really only get one set of skin, but it goes forever and ever and ever because you just keep making skin cells, which is nice, except you make too many skin cells. I have skin cancer here, and it's an ongoing thing. They're always cutting bits of me off after decades in the sun. All right, that was depressing. Let's move on. One more thing. I keep quick dry towels connected to my mesh duffels that I use to haul gear so that I can always dry my hands off. It is super nice when you've been damp all day because it's been raining all day or whatever. Keep your hands dry with one of these. They're super nice. Wring them out. They're dry super quick. Can't beat them. So good to have. Okay, this is going to seem like a simple thing. There are a million companies that make products that do this, but I'm showing you the best one. I swear to God, this is the best one. The MSR Dromedary bag. This is the 10-liter version, which is 2.5 gallons, and I freaking swear by this thing. I have been beating this thing up since 2008, maybe, and it's plugging along, and just recently, I had it filled, and it was in the van, and I forgot about it, and it froze solid, and the thing is still waterproof and awesome. It's got, what I really like about it is a 3-position cap. So big cap comes off, easy to fill it, easy to clean it, and it's a Nalgene size lid, so that if you do lose this in a pinch, you can keep using it with a Nalgene lid. And then there's a medium size cap for filling a pot or something like that. It's about the size of my pinky. There you go. And then little tiny cap opening for washing your hands or something. And the bag itself has a big heavy duty line so you can hang it from a tree. It works really well. Some people complain that they taste funny. I've never noticed that. I have a 10-liter and then I have a 4-liter in red, and I generally use the 4-liter in red as like a dirty bag for water that needs to be filled. I've been using this system, since like 2008, and it works so well. These things are indestructible. They're not cheap. I think this is about $60 now. They've also made the cap lower profile. I prefer the old cap, but it's still a great product, and I absolutely love this thing. Okay, this is the last one, and I think it's the most important. It is the one that will most immediately affect your paddling. When people buy a boat, they generally get a little sticker shock, and then they don't realize they're going to have to buy like a roof rack and a PFD and a paddle and whatever. And the only place in that where you really have choices in terms of saving money is on the paddle. Most people, when they buy their first boat, they buy a cheap paddle. And that is like the worst thing ever. It is your connection to the water. It is just a huge mistake to buy a cheap paddle. So before you upgrade your boat, upgrade your paddle. Get yourself a really nice paddle, or just cut to the chase. When you get your first boat, get yourself a really nice paddle. I am right now paddling with Lendls. I'm super happy with these, but I paddled with Werner forever. I think Werner still makes great paddles, and I've got a bunch of them here. So get yourself a nice paddle, and it will change your life and change your paddling experience. And so that is 5 relatively easy things. Really, the only one on the list that's expensive is the paddle. The rest of those are all relatively simple, easy things that will make your life way better, way happier on the water. Okay, I'm going to add one last thing, which is if you enjoyed this, if you found those 5 things helpful or interesting or useful, you're going to use some of those 5 things going forwards. Check out the Guide's Way on coffee that I'm selling. It's like $5.99. It's over 100 tips like this. I mean, there's lots of tips, but a lot of it is, this is a good way to do this. You'll find it super helpful. There's a sea kayaking version. There's just a straight up outdoors version. There is very little overlap between the two of them. Honestly, the only overlap is in the food section. So check that out on coffee. Links are down below. And really what I want for people is to be living their life on or near the water. That would make me really happy. Experience the ocean, experience all that stuff, see amazing, beautiful places, go out, paddle, have fun, be safe. I'll see you on the water.